Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome back to another CounterSide video. Alright, so in global server, there is this classified banner, classified recruitment, where you can pull awaken characters. And a lot of you guys have come to me, GuitarRock, which one should I pull? GuitarRock, which one do I pull? Regardless if you are in global or you are in C, I will try my best to give you guys as much information as I can, hopefully in this video, right? I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. Hopefully I'm going to try to maintain it as short as possible. Now, we're going to go from the bottom list to the top list. We're going to start off at the most bottom, hopefully give you guys an idea on each of the character, where they fit into your team. If you have one of them, either one of them. Okay, let's start off with Awaken A Hilde, right? So A Hilde is in a very weird spot right now. So she is going to be the best tank until Awaken Jake comes. Now keep in mind, so this is when is Awaken Jake coming? I have no idea. But if you look at this order, right? I'm going to show you the same for C server. Then you guys will get an idea maybe when Awaken Jake will come. So right now you can see Evolve 1, alright, and then Awaken Horizon, and then we're going to have Awaken Jushiyu next month. And then Awaken Jake is like here. Okay, Awaken Jake is like very soon. I think he's going to come around January next year, right? So I think it's just going to be a matter of time before we get Awaken Jake. So following the same one, we have E1, we have Awaken Horizon. Global still don't have Awaken Jushiyu, Arhat Jushiyu, and also Awaken Amy. Now, Awaken Hilde, definitely going to be the best tank for now, the best defender for now until Awaken Jake comes. The reason why is because a lot of the end game contents that you actually need Awaken Hilde or you actually need any Awaken defender, most of them consist of mechs. So a lot of the, so I'm just going to include this as well. So mechs are mostly in end game content, like the Dive 48, 49, 50. There's soldier mechs, there's no counters. Alright, Shadow Hall, I wouldn't say it's that hard. And then you get also the what is that? The relic stages, right? Where you want to farm for the relic dungeons. So that one is also max mostly. So Awaken Jake sort of replaces Awaken Hilde later on. But she's not bad, right? If you have her, you invested in her, you get her up to 110, she will still be good. But if you start today, that's not the advice that I'm going to tell you, because I wouldn't want you to spend all the resources in Awaken Hilde or in a character that falls off when a different character comes, you know? Like if you already invested in her, if you have 110 Awaken Hilde right now in global, don't worry about it. Don't worry about Awaken Jake. You probably don't need Awaken Jake. Awaken Hilde will be fine. But it's more for new players that are starting today. It doesn't make sense, right? For me to ask you to invest in something that I know will get stale or will get replaced later on. Now, let's move on to the next one, Awaken Mina. Now, Awaken Mina is going to be probably the best striker still. Alright, so it's hard to compare between Awaken Mina and Awaken Horizon, because Awaken Horizon is a mech, Awaken Mina is a counter, and she's a backline killer. So Awaken Mina versus Awaken Horizon, who actually does more damage? Awaken Mina, you know, she can do more damage in PvE because of how her attack speed is sort of like she gives an enhanced attack. Whereas Awaken Horizon is a little bit different. Awaken Horizon is more centered in PvP, but she's still really strong. Their damage is going to be very similar. Like I feel like based on my testing, I feel like Awaken Mina does a little bit more. Not by much, not like 500,000 more, maybe like 10% more. Maybe less than that. I feel like maybe 5% more damage. That's the last time I tested in raids, inhibitor raids. So that's something that you guys have to keep in mind, right? Awaken Mina is still really solid. She's going to be strong in a lot of contents, definitely, if you need an Awaken striker. But she's probably going to be much more complex to use, right? For new players, she's not beginner friendly, right? So she's complicated, but she can also output, she outputs a lot of damage. So this is one thing that you want to keep in mind. So Awaken Mina, this is her pros and cons. Now moving on to the list, let's talk about Awaken Yuna first, and then we'll come back to Awaken Lee Suyeon. Now Awaken Yuna will probably be the best first Awaken for a lot of players. For a lot of players, if you are starting the game, you don't have any other Awaken, Awaken Yuna or Ministra, yep, is going to be the best, in my humble opinion, the best first awaken for a lot of players, and that's because she does everything. She can tank a little bit in PvE. In PvP, she cannot tank because Xiaolin very strong. A lot of snipers are very strong and can one-shot her. But in PvE, she can tank. She can sustain. Like if you have a healer at the back, Young Harim, Claudia, Evelyn protecting her, she can tank for you for sure. Alright, so don't worry about her justification. A lot of players say she cannot tank. That's in PvP. But in PvE, most stages, Shadow Hall, she carried you. She can carry you solo. That's because she can tank most of the soldiers that comes out, and she will have AoE to deal with them, right? So she's all about self-sustain. She's the only self-sustain character, right? And she will, if you have good gears on her, she probably don't need anyone else, right? She, in some stages, you can basically, she can just solo everything for you. So that's one thing to keep in mind. She's very beginner friendly, but there's one thing that you guys need to know about her. There's a little bit of speculation that in the next month we're gonna get an Awaken selector. Alright, Awaken selector for the next, I think it's like the 2-year anniversary, something along those lines, or is it 1.5-year anniversary? But Awaken Yuna will perhaps be in that selector. So that is also something that I don't know if you guys want to wait. That's going to be in December. If I'm not mistaken, Awaken Yuna, Awaken Na Yubin, and Awaken Amy is there. If you want Awaken Na Yubin, then sure, you can pull for Awaken Yuna now. If not, you can wait if you want to. Again, this is not confirmed. Keep in mind, take it with a grain of salt. It's not coming from the developers themselves. It's just speculation because KR has the selector, so most likely Global will have it as well. Alright, so with that being said, let's talk about Awaken Lee Suyeon, or ALSY, as how we addresses her, right? So Awaken Lee Suyeon is this character right here. She is going to be the best, one of the best counter to Awaken Horizon, right? She counters, she can one-shots air units for PvP. Alright, she's very, very strong. She one-shots everyone. Lyudmila, boom, she destroys her. Janus, okay, Janus is the only one that probably she can't one-shot because Janus can become a ground. But Rosaria, Lyudmila, you know, Sparrow, any air units that you can think of, Lucretia, Evelyn, she one-shots all of them. Like, that's how strong she is. So Awaken Lee Suyeon, definitely don't sleep on her. Now, how about PvE? PvE, she is also really, really strong, but I would say it depends on what you want. So she provides utility rather than damage. So what kind of utility am I talking about? If you go to the skills, something that we seldom talk about, this is where the utility comes. She gives skill haste plus 30% to non-awaken ranger counters. That's very niche. That's like super niche. It's like one small category. But in certain raid comms, in certain, like for example, when you fight the raid, consortium raid co-op boss, she's going to be strong right there because you're going to have Carl Wong, you're going to have a lot of other rangers. So non-awaken ranger counters. We're talking about Kim Sobin, talking about Carl Wong, talking about you know, Gaeun, any ranger that's not awakened will give her, she will give additional skill haste plus 30%. Plus, she's actually one of the tankiest air units, despite her being a ranger. She's actually quite tanky because she has shield as well. So keep in mind, right? She's actually one of the tankier rangers out there. If you compare her with like Rosaria and everyone else, she's actually really tanky. That's something that you keep in mind. She's a 5-cost ranger awaken, so her value is gonna lie more in utility, like I mentioned, rather than in the damage. So let's move on to the next one. If you want pure damage, that's going to be Awaken Seoyun. Now Awaken Seoyun has lots of damage. She will be able to help you out. This girl right here, she will be able to help you out in damage. The problem with Awaken Seoyun is Ministra exists and Awaken Lee Suyeon exists. They are all rangers. Now, if you are new, you don't want all three of these. You don't want just get all these rangers. You only want one of them, right? And who's the best one? I'm probably going to say Ministra is going to be the better one, but Awaken Seoyun is someone that, you know, if you're looking to strive in raids, like you are a raid best DPS in raids specifically, Inhibitor, Britra. But in most other contents, you don't need her. Like in Die 48, 49, 50, she can be replaced with ALSY, she can be replaced with Ministra, Lyudmila, Xiaolin, she can be replaced with a lot of other characters. But in raids, she is probably the best in slot if you're looking for, the highest DPS, right? Again, if you are looking to one-shot raids, yeah, she's crucial. But if you're new, right, don't worry about that. That's something that you want to get later on. For now, I would say focus on the relevant units, such as Ministra. So I think Ministra, again, I think competes with Yuna for the best first awaken. Best first awaken, right? So I would say if you are new to the game, you're looking to get into the game, Ministra helps you a lot. Why is that? Number one, she's 5 costs, alright? So she's a 5 cost awaken unit. Whereas a lot of other characters, like for example, Awaken Seoyun is a 6 cost. Now if you play PvP a lot, you will know this 1 cost can actually help you a lot. Awaken Seoyun, once she dies, it's very expensive to redeploy her. Whereas for Ministra, being a 5 cost, since she's a 5 cost and the nature of how she's built, she can also summon 1 more unit to tank for her when her HP reduced to a certain threshold. You can also make her as a leader to be a 4 cost, right? So that's also something that you want to keep in mind. And therefore, it makes her much more way easier to redeploy. And she does a lot of things. She can debuff a lot. I've made a dedicated Ministra video, so I'll have some videos in the links in the description below so you guys can check that out. So Ministra, very, very solid, right? So I would say one of the must-haves if you are looking to tackle a lot of the endgame contents that's like related to raids. She's actually decent in raid. I don't know why nobody talks about her. I've tested her with attack speed gear. She actually does almost on par with Awaken Seoyun, although Awaken Seoyun can do way more because of her rifle, right? But she's actually not too bad damage-wise. But it's just most people will use skill haste as opposed to attack speed. So it is what it is. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about Awaken Na Yubin. Alright, so this guy right here. So what about Awaken Na Yubin, right? So where does he stand? I've made lots of videos comparing Awaken Na Yubin and Awaken Hilde, right? The other Awaken defender. Awaken Na Yubin is a bit different. His concept is where he has this thing called barrier reflux. In PvP, very, very strong. A lot of people have the ability to generate shield. Some shield cannot be removed, like Awaken Hilde one. I think hers is the only one that cannot be removed. But most shield, Estarossa, Young Harem gives shield, Aries gives shield. He straight up removes the shield and converts that shield, 30% of max HP or whatever, into damage. So this is very broken. He can one-shot a lot of characters because of this. He one-shots Ifrit because of this. He one-shots Awaken Lee Suyeon, right? Awaken Lee Suyeon can generate shield, one-shots her as well. He will be able to one-shot a lot of, like, for example, Horizon, not the Awaken one, but the regular Horizon that relies on having barrier. So Na Yubin, if you play PvP or if you intend to, very, very strong. And also, he also has the ability to minus 30% skill haste. So skill haste is very crucial to counter teams, right? Skill haste is, counter teams relies on high skill haste to generate their special, their ultimate skill as much as possible. So Na Yubin is, you know, he is centered around here. This is also in PvP. Now, in PvE, this is something that nobody talks about except for me. Because I'm the crazy one that likes to use Na Yubin in PvE. I'll be honest with you guys, he's actually really strong. Best damage tank. I know this sounds crazy. This sounds really crazy. Why would you want a tank that can do damage? But the more you play the stages in the game, you will understand why. Most stages are DPS stages. There's no such thing as you defend the stage to see how long you can defend. Every stage in this game is designed upon, you gotta beat this stage within 1 minute 30 seconds. If not, you will not 3-star it, and therefore you cannot sweep or stack it. So that's the whole. You need to understand CounterSide as a whole. Damage is king for this game because you want to always achieve the 1 minute 30 seconds. Awaken Hilde, she can tank for sure. But the situation that you actually need her is kind of niche. It's like maybe die 48, 49, 50. Maybe some challenge stages. Alright, but in most normal stages, you don't really need her. And that's where Na Yubin makes more sense because he does a lot of damage. You can always check. He sometimes does more damage than some rangers and strikers. It's insane how much damage he can do because his basic skill, if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't hit just one person. Let me check again. I'm pretty sure valid hit is quite high. Yes, it's an AoE on the basic skill too, and also barrier reflux can also convert to damage. So that's why he can do a lot of damage because of that. So keep that in mind. Like if you're struggling, right, just consider, if you're struggling to beat a stage at 1 minute 30 seconds, consider swapping him in. You will see what I'm talking about. He can help you to basically, beat those stages that you're struggling a little bit. So that's something, that's where he shines. Oh, also one thing that he has that Awakened Hilde does not have, he can hit air. So this is something that you have to consider. Some stage, there's no air units, which is fine. But some stage, the enemies are air. So he's an all-around attack. Right here, he's an all-around attack. Whereas Awakened Hilde doesn't hit air. Now, this you will need to experience it yourself because it's hard for me to explain. Awakened Hilde, when there's an air unit, she will walk past the air unit, she will dash forward. So because of how her nature of her skills work, she will always dash to the next enemy. So that can sometimes be a bit irritating because that air unit is now fighting your Carl Wong or your ranger behind, and now your Carl Wong is the one that's tanking. So it's a bit weird that she can tank, but the fact that if once she encounters air units, she can't tank. She will dash past them, and therefore the next units are the one tanking. So it's a little bit dumb concept. It can sometimes make her a little bit wonky because of that. But of course, not every stage has air enemies, but some stage, if they do have that, you're gonna see that in particular. So how good is Awakened Na Yubin as your first Awakened unit? Probably I wouldn't say he's a must-have, but he's still really solid. I actually do prefer him over Awakened Hilde. Like, I'll be honest, I would rather not have Awakened Hilde in my account rather than not having Awakened Na Yubin. So that's something that you guys have to also consider depending on what contents you're trying to do. If you play PvP a lot, Awakened Na Yubin, definitely you'll see the value. Alright, now let's move on to the Replacer Queen. Now Replacer Queen is the best, again, Replacer Queen is the best sniper in the game until today. Alright, so best sniper. Now the reason why is because she does a lot of damage, and right now she's still going. This is still true for her, but later on, Kestrel Xiaolin might be a better pick for compared to her, depending on the stage. But Replacer Queen will also have something that Kestrel Xiaolin does not have, which is she can also hit air units. Most snipers can't hit air units. A lot of snipers cannot hit air units, and Replacer Queen can. So depending on the situation, she can also be one of the alternating units that you can try to have if you're trying to tackle die 48, 49, 50, right? So you either need Replacer Queen, Awaken Seoyun, Ministra, Awaken Lee Suyeon, and you can also like have Liu Mila or Xiaolin. You don't need all 6 of these, you just need like 3 out of these 6. So depending on who you have, she is going to do a lot of damage, like I mentioned, sometimes more than Xiaolin, Kestrel Xiaolin, the rearm one, right? But right now, there's no competition. If you want a sniper, she's there. She has a lot of CC. Alright, so if you are struggling against a stage and you notice the enemies are too difficult to fight against, so she will be able to help you there. So she provides more CC, lots of CC. If you are talking about in, let's say, Danger Close, Replacer Queen is actually a better unit than Xiaolin. If you're looking for Danger Close contents or... Wait, did I say Danger Close? No, not Danger Close. Shadow Hall, Shadow Palace. Because a lot of the annoying enemies there, they have abilities as well. So Replacer Queen can stun them. Alright, her stun, her CC from both special and ultimate is going to be very good. Whereas Xiaolin doesn't really stun. Xiaolin is hit stun, which is a little bit different. They can still use skills regardless. Alright, so we have talked about Ministra. Now let's move on to Replacer King. How strong is Replacer King overall, right? So this guy, I would say he's decent, alright? The issue with Replacer King is he is very PvP focused, alright? Very strong in PvP. Probably the strongest unit out of this bunch in PvP right now. Still meta in KR until today. The meta is going to be Retain Replacer King and E1. and of course Awaken Horizon, depending on which team you run. But Replacer King probably going to win most of the time if you know what you're doing, and because he's centered around Blue Bridge Mark II, he's going to be really strong. Now, if you want to get him or you decide to get him, you have to have Blue Bridge Mark II. Blue Bridge Mark II is the ship, alright, so that pairs very well with him. If you don't have Blue Bridge Mark II, can still be used for sure, but it's just, this ship just makes him extra, like, he's like twice as strong, alright? He's like twice, 2.5 times as strong. Although it's more about the technique when you use him rather than the ship itself. So you just gotta know how to deploy, use skills, etc. So Replacer King is not someone that I recommend if you're new to the game because of the intricacies of the technique, and also you need to understand the game. You need to understand what he can do. You need to understand valid hits. He can hit unlimited units. Every skill or every ultimate skill, special skill has this thing called the valid hit, right? So this particular thing, if you guys are not aware, in the skill, valid hit is 2, valid hit is 3, valid hit is 4. That means it can only hit that amount of characters. But Replacer King has this passive skill that modifies him to have unlimited valid hit and unlimited range. So he's like a sniper in a defender, these guys. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. That's what makes him so strong in PvP. So not beginner friendly. That's something that you have to know moving forward. Okay, I'm not spelling it right, beginner friendly. So let's move on. Now we got E1. So let me just put it like that. E1. So Evolve 1 is this guy right here. It's a mech, very, very strong. Keep in mind that Evolve 1 is the only farmable Awaken. So you can farm for Evolve 1 later on. If you beat die 48, 49, 50, you can farm for him in one of the stage, in the special ops or whatever. But that will be way later. If you're new, you know, I wouldn't get him. I would say get the others. Definitely he shouldn't be your first Awaken as well. So similar to Replacer King, not beginner friendly, but very strong. Very strong in PvP. At least Replacer King might be better in PvE than E1. That's something that you keep in mind if you are deciding between these two for PvE purposes. Alright, and with that being said, now let's move on to Awaken Horizon. Awaken Horizon is going to be extremely solid. I'll make a dedicated video for Awaken Horizon. Hopefully I'll release that soon. So I would say right now she competes with a Mina, Awaken Mina, for the best damage striker. So it's either going to be her or Awaken Mina depending on the situation. She is going to be slightly more defensive oriented as well because of her immortality, right? I'm not sure, is it called immortality or damage, immune to damage, which is something that's better, like this skill right here, immune to damage for 3 seconds when passive effect is activated. So this is what makes her really, really strong. In a lot of situations in PvP, you know, sometimes Awaken Lee Suyon, if you are trying to use Awaken Lee Suyon to try to one-shot Awaken Horizon, you also need to look out for that immunity. When she has that circle going on surrounding her, she's immune to any damage. So you cannot deploy Awaken Lee Suyon during that period. Which is why Awaken Horizon is still going to be, you know, instead of perfect evasion, now she has damage immunity, right? That is going to be what makes her really, really strong. And she has insane knockback. If you're trying to push back a lot of characters alongside with Horizon, wow, she's just very, very good. So her knockback, her CC is insane, which is what makes her really, really good in PvP. She's a PvP beast right now. So if you are looking to have a character, you know, to have somewhat of a good, decent chance at PvP, like Awaken Horizon, going to be really strong. But I feel like she's going to get banned a lot. So that's something that we have to see moving forward. Is she going to be better than anyone else here? Like I mentioned, for your first Awaken, probably not. Because she is a mech. So she needs mech gears that a lot of new players will not have. So, best Awaken, like I still say right now, is still going to be Ministra. If you're new. If you're new, still going to be Ministra. Probably Awaken Yuna as well, but Awaken Yuna is going to be available in Selector later on. Ministra might also be available in the later Selector, but the Selectors are going to come later, right? I feel like it's better for me to give you advice based on what we have right now. You can always pick someone else from the selector later on. So hopefully this is going to give you guys a better idea, you know, depending on who you're trying to get and what you're looking for. Alright, if you're looking for the best PvP character, you play PvP a lot, you want to invest in PvP, you know, start getting Replacer King. You know, start getting Replacer King. He's going to be solid for generations. Alright, I would say the next 1 year at least, he will still be in the meta. There's no way he's gonna like be replaced anytime soon. He's so strong. Like I can't wait to see what characters will be able to, like, you know, there are some operators that can counter him, but he's really solid. If you're looking for like long range with a lot of stuns, a lot of CC, Replacer Queen, right? If you're looking for, you know, if you're looking for like someone with the best DPS, damage in raids, Awaken Sioyun, alright? If you're looking for probably the best character with self-sustain, Awaken Yuna is going to be there. So if you don't have much healers, you know, Awaken Yuna is going to be there. So overall, I hope this video can help some of you guys, alright? So I don't know how long is this video. It looks pretty long. It looks like I didn't manage to do it in less than 10 minutes. I think it's above 20 minutes even. So yeah, hopefully, you know, some of you guys, I hope it can benefit at least 10 of you guys watching this. Alright, it doesn't need to benefit all of you guys watching this, but I'm just targeting to, you know, hopefully help like the beginners. Like if any of you are not new to the game, you already play for a long time, feel free to chime in. Alright, give your thoughts as well. Feel free to give your opinions as well. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a like. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.